Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. My traditional saying, there's no smoke without fire. In that tradition, I have here two pieces of news. One, the defense minister or the defense secretary of the United States of America, Mr. Pete Hegseth, cancelled trip to Israel to meet Netanyahu and his counterpart, which is the Israeli defense minister. Okay, well, I'm going to show you here the reason why. Do I believe that's the true reason? I don't believe it. But anyway, I will reveal it to you. And the other subject, the other topic, which is more important than the first one, supposedly, allegedly, Trump cut contact with Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, because allegedly Trump is very upset and disappointed with Netanyahu, who tries to manipulate him. Now, I have here about 8 or 9 articles open for you, and you guys think for yourselves. And I will tell you what I think after I read all these articles or skimmed through. Let's start with the first one. All right, so this is coming from Axios, sneak peek. Now, this you find it not only in Axios, you find it in other media outlets. I picked this one because it was useless, redundant, how do you call it, to have 10 articles. The other subject, though, is more important. So Hegseth cancels Israel trip to join Trump on Air Force One. So Donald Trump will fly to the Middle East. And Mr. Hegseth was supposed to, in parallel, fly to Israel and discuss with Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, and with his counterpart, some things in Israel. But supposedly, our defense minister cancelled the meetings just like that because Trump invited him to fly with him on Air Force One. That's it. Do you think that's the reason why Hegseth cancelled with Netanyahu? I don't think so. But hey, let's see what these guys are saying. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth cancels his trip to Israel, which had been planned for Monday, in order to join President Donald Trump on Air Force One for his trip to the Middle East, according to 3 Israeli and US officials. Trump inviting Hegseth to travel with him to the Middle East is a signal that the president continues to embrace his Secretary of Defense even amid the storms that have surrounded him over the last 3 months. So the spin here is that Trump needed to show that he supports his Secretary of Defense by canceling an important meeting with the boss. Now, do you believe that's to be true? It's not impossible. It's possible. Is it probable? I would give 2%. All right, let's read further. Behind the scenes, according to an Israeli official, Hegseth's trip plan to Israel has been ready for several days. He was supposed to meet his counterpart, Israel Katz, the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister Netanyahu, 2 of them. They would not take this lightly. Briefings aboard an Israeli Navy ship off the coast of Gaza were also on the agenda. The plan was for Hegseth to travel to Saudi Arabia from Israel on Tuesday and join Trump's visit over there. But on Thursday, Hegseth's team notified the Israeli Ministry of Defense that the trip is cancelled because President Trump asked Hegseth to travel with him from Washington to Saudi Arabia on Air Force One. That's it, man. 2 US officials confirmed his account. Do you think so? Well, let's see who else is traveling with Donald Trump. Still, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of Energy, Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick are also scheduled to join Trump's trip. Okay? All right. Well, what do you think? Well, I'm going to show you the next articles are going to kind of have a problem with the statement, justification, argument that he just wanted to travel with Trump. All right, let's go. Let's start with right here. I'm going to start kind of from low to high. The Times of Israel, trusted media outlet, report Trump disappointed with Netanyahu, will continue Middle East policy objectives without Israel. So supposedly these guys are upset with one another. Is that possible? US President Donald Trump is disappointed with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Israel Hayom reports, citing two senior sources close to the president. So these guys report, okay, not Al Jazeera. According to Hebrew Language Daily, in closed-door conversation, Trump said he was going to make progress on his objectives in the Middle East without waiting for Israel. All right. On a deal with Saudi Arabia, Trump wants Israel to be a central part of an arrangement, but Netanyahu is delaying making the necessary decisions. He doesn't want to do it according to Trump's terms. Right, Israel Hayom's Ariel Kahana, who interviewed Trump at Mar-a-Lago last year. Trump is also still upset with Netanyahu and his circle over what he sees as an attempt to push the White House into military action against Iran's nuclear program, say the sources. So supposedly Trump woke up and he said, I'm upset because I think you guys want to manipulate me and get my country into war with Iran, when actually I have no problem with Iran. Remember, rather, what he sees. Israel officials were caught off guard by Trump's announcement that the U.S. had reached a ceasefire with the Houthis, I covered that, in Yemen this week, and by the start of U.S.-Iran nuclear talks in April. After the Houthi ceasefire announcement, Netanyahu and senior ministers have been emphasizing in recent statements that Israel can defend itself by itself. Now, all this coming from the Times of Israel. Sounds to me that they don't see one another eye to eye. Don't you think? I don't think that they are on the same page. So Israel says, I want Iran. With Saudi Arabia, I'm not ready to do anything. With the Houthis, you go and with Iran, you go And Trump said, no, with Iran, we're going to discuss. I don't want to for you yet. With the Houthis, I stopped that because it's for you again. And with Saudi Arabia, I have my own schedule, boy. Do you think that's the way Trump is? I don't think Trump will dare to even look in Netanyahu's eyes. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. Now we have other articles that are a little bit more aggressive in telling us more about Trump being a little bit upset. I don't know who these guys are. But anyway, Trump's cuts ties with Netanyahu over manipulation concerns. He says they cite a report. So it's not these guys' report, it's a report. Let's see where the report comes from. Israeli Army Radio says U.S. President has cut off direct contact with Benjamin Netanyahu amid growing bilateral tensions. So it's not this, whatever these guys are, it's the, where is it? Israel Army Radio. U.S. President Donald Trump has decided to cut off direct contact with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A report said Thursday. All right, and Yanir Kozin, a correspondent for Israeli Army Radio, is not the Israeli, baboon radio, said in a post on his X account that Trump made a decision after close associates told Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer that the president believes that Netanyahu is manipulating him. No, he ain't. An Israeli official added that Dermer's tone during recent discussions with senior Republican figures about what Trump should do was seen as arrogant and unhelpful. That's called chutzpah. The official said the people around Trump told him that, and I'm quoting, Netanyahu was manipulating him. And I'm quoting, there is nothing Trump hates more than being portrayed as a fool or someone being played. That's why he decided to cut contact with Netanyahu. The officials added. Kozin pointed to the Israeli government's failure to present a concrete plan and timeline regarding Iran and Yemen's Houthis as a source of the worsening U.S.-Israel relationship. Maybe Trump should look back in 1963. He would learn something. You know what I mean? In October or November? What was that? The Army radio correspondent also highlighted that the Netanyahu government has failed to offer a concrete proposal on Gaza. I think the proposal is clear. take over, and guys, never see you again. Next one. Trump says Netanyahu manipulated him. Cuts all contact. And the other one, Trump cuts off contact with Netanyahu by Mayadin Bababab. Mayadin al-Mayadin English. The same thing. Sources say US President seemed to have distanced himself from the Israeli premier over manipulation claims. Would you think so? We'll find out. And now we have a jackal. I never knew, but hey, here he is. Reckless. Ambassador to Israel slams Adelson-Owned papers report of a Trump-Netanyahu feud. Feud. All right, who is this guy? This is none other than Mike Huckabee with his pretty daughter, if you remember. One eye like that, the other one at the second level. President Donald Trump's ambassador to Israel is slamming a report. He doesn't say it's true or not. That there are tensions between the commander-in-chief and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying claims of a rift are reckless and irresponsible. Hey, idiot, are they true? That's what I want to hear. No, he said, no. The report is reckless. Telling the truth, probably. Mike Huckabee, a former Arkansas governor who was confirmed as Trump's ambassador to Israel last month, took X to slam the report in Israel Hayom that the relationship between the two leaders has turned cold. Now, Hayom is owned by whom? It's a right-of-center publication. It's a free daily newspaper in Israel and the most widely distributed on the country. Most widely distributed. It has long been owned by the Adelsons. You know Adelsons? I'm going to show you some pictures. Please, viewer discretion advised. Who have been some of Trump's largest political donors in the GOP. Miriam Adelson, who now owns the paper following her husband Sheldon's passing and is Israel's richest citizen, also serves as its publisher. All right, it is reckless and irresponsible for press to allege that President of the United States of America and Israeli Prime Minister are not getting along. Huckabee said in a post, Bibi has spent more time with Donald Trump than I have in the past 3 months. I'm his ambassador. The relationship between US and Israel remains strong. So this imbecile, who's an ambassador, supposedly looking for our interest, tell us that if two people were married for 1 year, their bond is so strong that they can never divorce. Basically, that's his argument, that these guys spend more time together than with me, man. That means it's preposterous. This is his argument. I have to mention that people divorce after decades, okay, Mr. Huckabee. So this is a jackal. Now, let's go and see who this Miriam Adelson is. Here she is, beauty and the beast. All right, is an Israeli-American physician, businesswoman, conservative political mega donor, and 58th richest person in the world. I thought they are abused and discriminated. And anyway, she was married to Sheldon Adelson until his death 2021. And here we find out that she graduated Tel Aviv. That's not in the United States of America. That's in Israel University. Very good for her. And we find out what she has double citizenship, American and Israel, but she's very loyal to America. And then we have, there you are. Look at this. He looks like Weinstein. He looks like Yermak in Ukraine. To me. And she looks like, I have no idea what. But hey, you can recognize they are what they are. So now, what do you think? Even if Trump pretends to be upset with Netanyahu, it's not going to last long. It's not the policy, it's the person. So Trump might be upset with Netanyahu, the person, because Trump's guys in the back are upset with Netanyahu. Okay, that's what it is. And remember, these guys in the West nowadays, for the past, I would say 2 years, were against Netanyahu. Why? Oh my God, Netanyahu. Netanyahu got the power, and he's over there. And I think Trump was convinced that he must not like Netanyahu from now on. Not that Netanyahu is a pleasant individual by any means. I mean, I saw him, I heard him, I think I know what he can do. All right? But I think there are interests and there are factions among them. And not like a, monolithic push. Their interest is like, how do we get to, let's say I'm in New York City, and I say, how do we get to Portland, Oregon? And we might have a disagreement. You might say, well, we can take the ship, go Panama Canal and go around. Okay, someone else might say in the family, could say, well, no, how about we take the plane? Someone might say, well, okay, how about we drive? Some people can say, hey, let's bike, let's walk. The idea is not the idea that they're going to get from Washington, from New York City to Portland, Oregon. They will get. So the idea is, the problem is the means. It's going to be Netanyahu, it's going to be Bernstein, it's going to be, Kosman, it's going to be Lubavitch. Something will be. But the idea is the person at this point, which is Netanyahu, is not liked by certain factions. That's it. And Trump probably is promoted by one big faction in the whole. We're going to travel to Portland, Oregon. But they don't like Netanyahu. They don't want a bike from New York to Portland. They want to fly. That's all. If Netanyahu leaves tomorrow, it's going to come Mr. Bernstein. They're still going to have the same policy against Iran, against those guys. Now, what happened with the Houthis? With the Houthis, I think the Americans could not afford doing what they did. They had to make a choice. We either go and deploy troops over there and flatten the thing, which I don't think it works. And it seems like the Houthis were capable, unfortunately for us, to make us have accidents with some F-18s. They just fell off the dock when they were shooting missiles. If you believe that, that's fine. I don't. All right, that's me, but hey, I'm a baboon. So I think that's what with the Houthis. With Iran, Russia has a partnership and an alliance with Iran. So when Trump showed his balls to the world, I'm gonna do this to Iran, people, what? Well, it's the Russians over there, and the Russians will not let that happen. So if you want to decide to fight Iran for hippie Maka Stein, the Russians will get. Even the Chinese said, we will support and protect Iran. So you got to think a little bit better than being just I'm going to do it. So I think that's what made Trump do this. And Netanyahu probably was just using the brake. All right? And that's it. And Trump probably was disrespectful. And because of that big faction, he dares to do this to Netanyahu. Only because of that. Once it's going to be Bernstein or whomever instead of Netanyahu as the prime minister, or maybe Israel is going to show us how inclusive and diverse it is, and probably going to have an Iranian as the prime minister, and a Palestinian as a president, and a Lebanese as a defense minister, and maybe as a Syrian as Mossad chief. Now then we're going to have diversity, inclusion, and equity in Israel as they push it here on us. Rest my case, it's not going to last. But we'll find out. That's the only reason, remember. That's the only reason. The bigger faction is behind Trump, not behind Netanyahu. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.